Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of Scion of the Dark House, a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition Gothic horror podcast. I've made sure to get the lines and veils of every single one of my players, so if there's anything that crosses a line for you, blood, gore, guts, body horror, mutilation, child endangerment, and various other horrors, please feel free to take a break. Your support means a lot to us, but so does your mental health. So where we left the group off last, we have a new member that, via a teleporting accident from Caliburn, arrived just in time to assist the party in dispatching a strange vampiric creature running around in the crypt beneath a chapel. They then went to investigate the Hedgemaze, found it to be incredibly unpleasant, and about faced and headed for the lake house. On the way, they found that living in the lake house is a society of frogs, a quite advanced society of frog people with houses and executions. After watching an execution or two, they were guided to the Queen Croak, who thanked them for providing assistance in attempting to rid what she views as her lands of various evils. After attempting to find rest and finding only pools of water and beds of mud, they went back to the carriage house where several members had interesting visitations. And we awake the next morning. Everyone rises bright and early as the sun begins to rise, or you presume so, since it is very cloudy in Gothia and you don't see the sun ever. But it is morning, and you all wake up and eat what little food is in your packs. And how would you like to proceed?
Arthur, I guess, just wakes up like remembering what happened last night and like fumbles around the bed trying to see if he actually brought those back with him or if it was all just a dream.
You do have the 3 metal arrows.
Hey, so that was that was real. I guess I'll kind of like look for everyone else as they're waking up and present this strange objects.
Percy feels like a weird need to be like hospitable since technically this is like his house, so he's like doing his best to like get everyone water and like put together something that is like kind of a breakfast and like and yeah, I'm like, oh, what do you have there, Arthur?
Arrows, presumably. I think the Mr. Rat person, you know, the one with the eye thing going on,
The
was
rat
here
man?
last night. Yeah, that's the one.
He came here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and he left me with these. He told me you'll know when to use them. So, yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, that's worrying, but
A
I
little bit.
guess good to have, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know where they're from or what they do, but apparently I'll know when it's time.
He's as becoming as ever, as willing to help out, be forthright. Yeah. Oh, I would love someone to give me a straight answer at some point in my life.
Yeah, that seems doubtful at this point.
Yeah, kind of like that dream I had. It was also not very straightforward.
Oh?
Yeah, it was a sphinx telling me it's almost time. I guess
almost
as we
time
get
for what?
I studied this shit and I have no idea.
That's comforting.
Although yeah. It does make me feel like we are getting closer to our goal.
Are there enough rooms in the carriage house that we no longer all room together in like 2 rooms, or are we still like rooming together?
There's plenty of room to spread out a little bit, and of course there's stuff downstairs. If one of you wanted to maybe sleep on one of the large couches downstairs, you could.
I was gonna say, because if Lark was still rooming with Percy, he was gonna ask him about why he was. But then again, if he's rooming next to him, maybe how much noise does Percy make when it's a like nightmare?
Yeah, for the fun, the flavor, yeah. Percy's a very active sleeper.
Percy, you either had a very good dream or a very bad dream last night from all the whimpering I heard through the wall. What happened?
Oh my. I've had how many talks we had about boundaries and just more, the crushing weight of your family will, be your undoing sort of dreams. So nothing new to report there. Just, I think being here is not doing great things for the old brain, but we're making it. We're doing it. We made friends with frog people, and that's progress. That's progress.
I think friends might be a bit of an overstatement.
Well, they don't want to kill us, and I can't say that about anything else in this place.
Not yet is the response from literally everyone.
About Bruno.
I have a feeling that Queen Croak would have us our heads detached at a moment's notice.
Yes, 100%. We have to be very careful about how we approach them at all times.
I feel like we can take a bunch of frogs.
Probably, but like it is helpful to have. They said they're sending another troop of warriors into the house.
Speaking of a troop of warriors, how much more work would you say we have to do here until you guys are willing to help me get back to Caliburn?
Yeah. We'll have to travel back to Darkmoor at some point in the near future to restock and whatnot. So probably just a few more days.
The military doesn't really, it's not big on abandonment.
Yeah, well then, if you'd care to start walking, you're more than welcome to.
I still don't like that elf.
Bruno, think of all the useful secrets you can pass on to your state about what you've learned about Darkmoor since coming here.
Nobody cares about this horrible country. Not even to invade. The frogs can have it.
Wow.
I don't know if that's entirely true. We've run into at least 2 hag queens who have making moves on this plane.
I don't know.
It's a lot of hag queens. You have to admit.
Very well.
Yeah. So today we just keep moving. We know at least there's nothing that we have to take care of in the lake house or the lake. So the vineyard.
Aren't we a bit closer to the Hedgemaze? I mean, not that I'm all for going to the vineyard. I've been trying to get my hands on some wine since we got here, but that would send us right back by the frog people.
I just feel like the concept of the Hedgemaze is already kind of spooky. So like
all of
Percy,
it kind of
my human boy. You have Bruno to protect you.
Where was the graveyard again?
Between here and the Hedgemaze.
So if we clear up whatever is in the Hedgemaze, then we already helped Croak person. And we wouldn't really have to go there. Back to the frog people.
I'd really rather not. Their concept of a good meal is a bit distasteful.
Yeah. Well, we certainly could head to the Hedgemaze today then.
So
Try not to sound so excited about it.
I will say that I'm for leaving the frog people alone until we can trick some of them to going into the house with us.
Mm.
You know, bait and whatnot, or whatever's in there.
So it would be nice to have not just us in there.
Yeah, cannon fodder would be useful.
Well, that's a little harsh, but
Have you met me?
yeah, I just hope that over time we'll have a bit of a breakthrough in some areas if I keep trying.
We don't need frogs.
Doubtful.
We have Bruno.
Oh,
Right.
Percy,
Oh my god.
darling, if you think the morality of the people you're traveling with is anything close to yours.
Yeah, I know. It's a constant battle.
Yeah.
So the hedge maze, is that what we're agreed upon for today then?
I suppose so.
Wonderful.
Everybody follow me.
Yeah.
Yeah. By all means, lead the way.
You have fun with that. Yeah, I'll lead us back to the hedge maze with the map.
Isn't he like our first like actual tank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Tank away, man.
That's
Can
what
I
I'm
do like a history check for an idea that I think Lark might have in character, but just to see if he would have it?
Sure.
Based on where he was born, and we're going into like this spooky hedge maze, I kind of just want to see like if he would suggest a certain thing just because of all the spores and pollens in the air.
Mm-hmm.
How is a 13? Do you think that's enough for him to come up with the idea?
Probably, yeah.
He's just going to be like, it'd probably behoove us to, and I have a cat on my shoulder. This is fine. He's masks of some sort when we go in there just to be safe. Plants and spores and who knows what else floating through the air. Where I'm from, if you're not the right sort of creature and you breathe the wrong sort of thing in, bad things can happen to you.
Percy has that taken care of already. For himself.
I suppose I can just, I don't know, maybe take what is presumably a spare tunic or something from my bag and like tear it to shreds and wrap it around my face. A wise suggestion.
Well,
Well, I'm assuming you all head towards the hedge maze. You walk out and you take the right-hand path up towards the house as you walk by the cleared chapel and the still mysterious graveyard and into the archway that leads into the hedge maze with its tall orange leaves and strange vines growing across the ground and the fences coming out at odd angles. You find your way to the center of the hedge maze, where there is a completely dry fountain and not really much else. You still smell the rot, but now you smell something else. A little bit of ozone in the air. That weird kind of burnt, sort of metallic smell, easily recognizable as not rot, but also not plant.
Investigation check on the fountain?
Yes. You can do an investigation check on the fountain.
And that's a pretty shit roll. That was a 10.
Eli has to go to the bathroom, so he's got
You don't find a lot in the fountain. There's definitely leaves and vines and things in the fountain, and there's definitely a lot of care that was put into making the fountain, but there isn't much in the fountain.
Could I keen smell and see if maybe I can figure out like the direction of the source of this like ozone odor?
Yes.
Okay. That'll be a 23.
It is coming from ahead of you and a bit to the left. You will have to go into a maze, part of the hedge maze. But it seems to be over in that direction.
Are
Okay.
there any of those big gargoyles in here?
There are some gargoyles, but they are up high and sort of more in the maze part of the hedge
Okay,
maze.
so
They're
not
not
in-
like in the square.
Yeah. All right. I think Percy's keeping a very close eye on this.
Question about those things. Do the night and day principle kind of apply to those gargoyles?
What?
Kind of like in the cartoon gargoyles.
Oh God.
I feel like that's a check sort of a question. I don't know what sort of check, but
Like what, reality check?
You can make an Arcana check if you want.
Okay.
Are these gargoyles going to teach us Shakespearean character names before we get to know what they are and possibly contribute to our sexual awakenings?
Mm,
wow. Okay.
Is it
That
bad when you said gargoyles? My first thought was the Hunchback of Notre Dame gargoyles.
I've never seen the
is.
gargoyle cartoons.
Me
I just
neither.
know that it's been referenced a lot.
I've watched it. I have watched it.
Okay. My insight Arcana is
Arcana.
14. 14.
If they're moving, they're probably living to some degree. There are elemental creatures known as gargoyles, which are presumed to be the sort of originator of people putting gargoyles on top of things. So they would, in a sense, be elemental spirits from the plane of Earth. But if they were called here, if they came here, you don't know.
at any rate, Jasmine says the source of the electric ozone smell is that away, deeper into the maze. Do we avoid it or check it out?
I guess that's really the entire purpose of us coming here. So
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. So actually no, I know this. Intelligence check to see if Arthur has an idea, because like player me does, but I don't know if he would be smart enough.
we're all so much smarter than our characters.
I know, Mike, he's kind of dumb.
I mean, you can make an intelligence check. I mean, I don't know what idea you're having.
So it's about getting out of mazes, like, you know, that whole like stick to one wall thing and just like keep your
Make me an intelligence check.
Okay. This is gonna be real bad. But yeah, that was a 5. He's real stupid.
Can I do one?
It's a maze. Sure.
It's an 8.
It's a maze.
I mean,
It's amazing.
are you really that concerned about getting out of a maze when I can literally just fly up?
Oh shit.
We've
okay.
already established he's not smart. And you know, I had that exact thought like right before you said it. I was like, oh yeah, there's kind of a flying creature.
We have a
so-
flying
We have-
character.
We can burn this shit down.
I
You
mean,
always
the
want
leaves
to
are
burn
pretty
things
dry.
down.
I do.
Like 4 out of 5 suggestions you have is burn things.
I will say you have kind of looked at the leaves and probably touched the leaves or stepped on the leaves. Yeah, if you breathed in the wrong direction, the whole Hedgemaze is going up.
Yep. Does that include us in it?
Probably if you're inside of the Hedgemaze.
We're still in it.
Well, I am fire resistant. Immune.
But not
actually.
immune. No, you're only
I'm not-
resistant, and it's resistance. You will still burn to death, just slower than everyone else.
Right.
I thought I had
And
immunity.
recall-
No, you don't have immunity.
Resistance.
You only have resistance.
Jesus.
Yeah, not to mention my entire village burned to the ground, so I'm not really thrilled about the idea of the maze going up in flames around us.
Never mind.
I'd just fly 30 feet into the air each round to get away from the blaze. Good luck, everybody else!
See you
Since you
never,
mention it,
fuckers.
do you want to maybe fly up and see if you can see what's over there? Jasmine can smell where it's coming from, but maybe a bird's eye view might be
Good
helpful.
idea. Lark's gonna fly up and see if he can look further into the maze itself towards the direction they pointed.
Yeah, so you do fly up into the air. And as you look down on the maze, there are a lot of statues in the maze, as well as, of course, pedestals with the gargoyles on them. But you notice in the direction they indicated, there is a large area of the Hedgemaze that has been severely damaged. There is a crater. And in that crater is a rock. And that rock seems to be emitting this sort of yellowish mist that seems to pervade the Hedgemaze. There are also mounds of these sort of vines. It doesn't look like those mounds grew naturally. It looks like something put them in place around the edge of this crater. But there is definitely a crater, like an asteroid fell out of the sky and slammed into the Hedgemaze.
We have aliens here now.
I don't know if Lark knows would he know what an asteroid is?
Do
Probably.
we have the concept of like astronomy?
You do have the concept of astronomy.
Astrology.
Well, you do have Rerek, who studies the stars for divination purposes. But the Staff of Night and the Darkmoor Academy do both have astrology and astronomy courses that they would teach. Of course, the Staff of Night has magical telescopes and some archmages who are actually able to do things like plane shift and things. So they were able to gather a little more information, but there is a concept of things sometimes fall out of the sky, but they're supposed to because things pass by each other.
But where I'm from, when things fall out of the sky, what happens is the real question. Does it turn into Claire Danes in the movie Starlight, is what I'm really wondering.
Sadly, this does
movie.
not look like it is going to transform into a beautiful woman in a white dress that immediately gets kidnapped.
Does it turn to a man?
No.
Beautiful man.
It
white
remains
dress.
a rock.
So yeah, Lark's just gonna be like, there's a big crater, there's a crater with a rock in it emitting some yellow mist. It looks like some vines have been planted around it strategically. In a certain, possibly a ward of some sort. We have those back home at least.
Interesting. Do you think it merits a closer look? Or does it seem like something we probably shouldn't be touching?
This entire estate is full of things we probably shouldn't be touching. Has that stopped us yet?
So we should go touch it.
We should probably and Lark's gonna look around and point to Rerek, probably let him check it out first.
Or maybe that
Yeah.
irritating paladin.
Maybe he can touch it first.
I mean, I'm all for sending him in beforehand, test the waters and all.
Go lick
Where
the
is he?
rock.
It is over there on some bushes.
See what
We're
happens.
not available, but
What if he like just walked away somewhere and we were like, what the hell is going on right now?
He just got lost in the maze. You didn't actually
Yeah.
go into the maze, but somehow he just got lost in the maze.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah, Rerek, do you
well-
have any? Is there anything you can do to try to figure this?
Sure thing. I will use identify on it. Motherfucker.
You haven't actually made it to the rock yet.
Yeah, so
Oh
maybe
shit,
we should.
okay.
Follow my directions.
Let's follow the fairy.
Ah,
So you do
So-
march into the hedge maze as Lark
Don't follow fairies in the wild.
points in various directions, seeming to look forward and trace the path. And it is a very windy hedge maze. There are a lot of narrow spots. There's a lot of spots that widen up. There are definitely a lot of places where there are dried up fountains and statues of various types. And as you get closer, you notice there's a lot more moss and mushrooms growing. Darker
Great. The last
stains
time I
on
saw
the
mushrooms.
stones and things of that nature. And as you're walking through one of these little squares, you see something move, rustles the leaves a little bit.
I don't like that. The last time I saw this many mushrooms, we were nearly overrun by meanlocks.
Oh, that would be simply darling if they were here, though.
Can I like have Jazz like maybe chase after like whatever just moved?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just
She
gonna send
does
her
kind
after.
of creep forward at first before she bounds forward, and bursting out of the leaves is a small humanoid shape. It's gray and fuzzy with yellow eyes. It has mushrooms growing off of its shoulders and in various other places, and it just runs away screaming off into the maze.
What the fuck was that?
Can I nature or history check that thing?
Yes, you may. You can nature check it.
Okay. 16. That sounds like some bullshit I'd know about from Feywild interplanar travels.
I was gonna say it sounds like your type of thing.
They don't originate on the Feywild. Nobody knows where they originated from. Or at least they haven't originated on any of the actual planes, and very few of them have made it into the Feywild. But you've heard about these things. They're called veg pygmies. And they are literally made of mold and mushrooms.
Ooh.
Lovely.
Oh,
Mold
gross
is
stuff.
mushrooms. Mold is just really tiny mushrooms. Just,
Oh
Okay.
yeah, to catch you up, we went into the maze. We found what is ostensibly a meteor that's like emitting green mist. We went to go check it out, and then found that mold creature that ran away.
You just popped out of nowhere and we're like, where the fuck have you been? Oh my god.
Do you know anything about that thing, Mark? I presume it's not dangerous. I mean, it ran from us.
I mean, they're not actually native to the Feywild. They've just cropped up from time to time in some places. Do I know if they're dangerous at all, Spencer? I just recognize what it was.
Is there usually more than one?
Well, yeah, there would definitely be more than one. You've heard stories about because they are made of mold, they're passively dangerous. They themselves are not aggressive, but they are made of mold.
Wait, so they're made of mold, not like they're a creature that just mold grow on them?
Mm-mm. They are through and through 100% mold
Ugh.
and
Yummy.
mushrooms.
They're arbiters of disease and decay.
Yes. If any were to crop up in any of the gardens back home, they would be mercilessly eliminated for the threat they pose to the flowers.
And
Oh
do
my
they
God.
normally travel by meteor?
I don't know how these things move from plane to plane, darling. The fact that they've shown up here and the Feywild doesn't surprise me.
Well, if we're ever to get this manor in ship shape, we must eliminate it. Hey, Percy, my friend.
He seems to be your only friend at the moment.
How exactly does one eliminate a meteor?
No, the little mold boy.
Eh. He's run for now. There's no reason to go after it if he's not attacking us. Although, meteor's kind of interesting.
It has been a while since I've wiped out an entire population of living creatures.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm just
by
gonna
all means.
gloss past that, and
Can
so
I attack the meteor?
Oh, please do.
Divine Smite.
I think we should figure out what the meteor is first. And
Let
see.
him whack it.
Yeah, I'm gonna whack it.
it's a big rock. You
I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it. Let's get these dice.
You haven't
rolling.
made it to the meteor yet. You are still a ways off.
Lark's still just
Yeah.
leading everybody while he's like 45 feet in the air, just being like, "No, your other left, you." In Sylvan, so that no one understands me. He goes, "These fucking idiots."
Maybe you're
Your
just leading us
military left.
wrong.
Your military left.
So eventually you do make it to this place. It is very clearly supposed to still have its walls in various places, but this meteor has destroyed it. There are growths of vines that have severely withered and iron fences and rocks that are inside of the crater, but the meteor is there, and it is not made from a stone that you recognize. And the stone has a lot of holes in it that are emitting this sort of yellow-ish mist that you've seen floating around the place. There are various domes made from gathered rock and fence posts and other things where the vines have been positioned over it to create a dome. And it is all quiet for a moment. And then you see more of these veg pygmies all begin to poke their heads out of what appear to be windows and doors to these sort of dome-shaped domiciles. And they all just watch as you come in.
Oh, blast it. They're cute.
Are they cute?
Well,
Not
they're kind of
exactly.
fuzzy.
I'm gonna attack him.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna attack him.
Would you like to attack one? They are probably in 3/4 cover.
Stop. Not yet. Hold on. Jesus.
Them.
And I thought I was like.
For Rerek to be the voice of reason, we are in uncharted territory.
I mean, Rerek must be chomping at the bits to use his fire breath on all of this.
To be fair, I'm with the lizard man on this one. I mean, I grew up in a garden. These things wouldn't survive there for a day if Granther knew they were here.
I mean,
I'm
you
just
allowed the
concerned
frog
by
people to live.
by
Are
how
we-
many of them there are, and attacking one could provoke all of them.
I'm not afraid. Are you afraid,
Of course
Percy?
I'm afraid. What idiot wouldn't be afraid?
You seem like a strong, if not short, human man. What are you afraid of?
Being killed by weird little mold men.
No. You have Bruno here.
Silencio, Bruno. No, let's I wanna identify the meteor. Are we out at the meteor?
Yes.
Like I wanna
I'm gonna do a
identify
vibe
it.
check.
I wanna identify it.
What
first.
does your vibe check get?
It tells you the basics of good and bad creatures. So like celestials, fae.
So yeah, fae,
and
fiends, celestials, aberrations, undead.
Yeah.
Does that identify like aggression?
No, just
No, it
different
only
things.
identifies type. No, there are not any of those within 60 feet.
Hmm. Okay. Vibe check passed.
Oh my god. I'm casting identify on this meteor.
Don't you have to touch it?
Yes.
Yes, you do have to
Is-
touch it.
Oh!
Not to worry, my Dragonborn friend. I will cleanse you.
Okay.
Ew.
So the stone is, I guess it would be somewhat magical.
Mhm.
It is a material known as orichalcum.
Oh my gosh!
It is
That's-
not native to the material plane.
We are taking this thing home.
It says we're in
It's
your
a
kingdom.
giant meteor, Rerek.
It's orichalcum! Are you serious?
It is a very rare sort of stone that does not originate on the material plane.
Okay, what does your orichalcum look like? Is it blue or red?
It's kind of slightly iridescent grayish green rock.
Ooh.
Can I break off a chunk?
Is it supposed to be smoking mists of yellow like that? Is the real question.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Is that? I mean, Rerek, you seem to know what orichalcum is. Do you?
It's a precious
Is that normal
metal.
for orichalcum?
It's a rare metal that's not native to this world, and we can
Does it
use it as
smoke?
material. It's wait. Do we know if this thing just fell from the
Yes,
sky? So it did just fall from the sky.
not just fall from the sky.
I
It
mean, it's
fell
not
from the
native
sky
to
a
this
while
plane.
ago.
Oh, then why the
It-
hell is it still smoking? Should I detect magic on it?
I will also say you do definitely see patches of mold growing on this thing.
Oh,
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I think these little creatures did something to it.
Told you.
Or
we
it
should-
could be the
Or
the
the
cause of their.
creatures. I feel like
Yeah.
Arthur and Lark both look at each other when it hits them both. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that might be why they're here in some way.
Where-
Interplanar mold men and a rock spewing a mysterious yellow mist. Sweetheart, mold spreads through spores.
Yeah,
Okay,
It's-
I
well,
don't read that in much longer, Eric.
we will kill these mother effers, and we're stealing their orichalcum.
Rerek
Oh,
has
all right.
spoken.
Sure.
Did
How
I
many
smite?
are there? They're just like poking their heads out right now.
There are lots of them.
Cool.
Oh, there's
Probably a
no
couple
number.
dozen of them.
Oh, okay.
We can
Oh,
take.
sweet Mother Mary.
How
Do they
easy is it to
speak
deal
all?
with these things?
You don't know.
No,
Do they speak
none
at
of us
all?
know anything about them.
I still
Lark
don't know. if
simply
we
knows
should
they
just-
exist, and some of the stories around them. You guys know nothing of these things.
I still don't know if we should just attack him or not, though.
They don't seem
Well,
to
they
be
seem-
attacking you.
Yeah.
They seem to be non-aggressive, but pests nonetheless. I mean,
True.
I'm of the opinion that if we're ever going to get this manor shipshape, we should let them reproduce. Infest your land, Percy. My
as
human
the
friend.
frogs have done.
As the frogs have done.
Um,
Imagine if you'd been there when the first frogs came up on the lake house. If you just stepped on them, we would have no frog problem right now.
right. So
Do you want a frog problem and a mold problem?
are we just gonna start swinging swords? Is that the strategy here?
Why?
I mean, the whole place seems rather flammable.
Oh my God. We're
Anybody
back
else
to
can
that.
fire things besides Rerek?
Julius?
Okay, Intelligence check to see if I can say a smart thing.
Sure.
18.
Okay.
So, suggestion in a brief moment of unusual clarity. My suggestion would be that we eliminate just that rock thing because it seems to be their source. These things, it doesn't appear that they're aggressive or pose a threat to anyone other than in so much as their population is growing. And it appears that that rock is the cause of that. We take that out, maybe they eventually just die.
I like the idea. How do we take out a rock?
Divine smite.
Well,
How can we destroy orichalcum?
How big is the piece of orichalcum?
Pretty big. Probably just what's sticking out of the earth itself. When Rerek goes up to it, you could stand another Rerek on his shoulders and the tips of his horns would be just in line with what is the top of the rock.
15 feet.
And
so
there's
that's a big
probably
rock.
more underground, and you don't know how much more underground there is.
It might have been
Well-
rooted in there. It might have rooted
Well-
itself in there.
We can't just leave it here.
Did they react at all when we started touching it? Or when Rerek started touching it?
Make me an insight check.
Hey, I'm kind of good at those. Oh, it's only a 10.
Percy
They're
rolled a
staring at
17.
you. They're very alien creatures. You have a hard time reading their expressions as they stare out from their little peepholes.
Can I give it a go? Insight check.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Percy rolled a 17.
Oh Jesus, I rolled a 9.
Let me
Yeah,
do
for
one.
Arthur, they are very alien creatures. They don't have a nose. They just have a mouth and eyes. And they just are staring out. Percy, they're definitely taking a bit of interest now that you're like touching the rock. They are
Definitely
taking a bit of
seem to-
interest.
I also
Definitely seem to
rolled a
not
17.
like that.
You would get the same thing. They are definitely getting a bit more interested in what exactly you're doing.
God damn it. What should we do?
Like,
Mm,
Can I roll to say something smart?
do you have a smart thing to say?
No, I thought that came with
I might have to give you disadvantage if you would like to.
you just like rattle off like E equals MC squared, something like
That's it. Eureka.
3 digits of pi as if it were helpful.
It's smart.
I have a question about some of the spells that I acquired
Uh-huh.
before. I wasn't very clear what they do. So I have Oracle.
Oh, yes. That allows you to cast Augury
Okay.
once a day. And that gives you just like wheel or woe, basically kind of a universal vibe check for something that you're going to do within the next, what is it, 15 minutes? I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I do that shit?
Yes. What specific action are you asking if it's
Should we-
okay?
Should we destroy these creatures? I don't know how it works for real. Is that the right question?
So you kind of dip into that sense that you have as a divination wizard to try and call upon any sources that you can find and ask what'll happen, what is going on, that kind of thing. And you get back a wheel and woe. There are reasons to do this. There are reasons to not do it. Both have their pros and cons.
Wonderful.
I know, divination, such a specific art.
Mhm.
Wait,
All right.
that was it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
all you get from
Something has
augury.
to be done. Do we
and
have
we-
any ideas on how to somehow eliminate whatever's going on with the rock? Or should we just attack these creatures?
I feel like the
I don't-
creatures. Why do we want to eliminate the rock? Because we feel like the rock is their home.
That's what they're here for, we're guessing?
What they came out of.
Should we
Or-
take a chunk out of it or
I don't
something?
see. Why don't we just kill all the creatures?
Lark, do you think it's possible to kill they're mold beings? How do you think do they spread easily? Like is
They
it
will
even possible
Be
to-
very flammable if that's the case.
The amount of, like, it does partially explain the amount of fungus we've seen growing through your hedges so far.
So just torch it? Just gonna torch them all?
Once we leave the maze, why don't we torch it then?
So we'll be a little far away at that point.
And we'd have no assurances that the orichalcum, which is presumably their source, maybe would be destroyed. We have no idea whether it would survive or not.
Is orichalcum fireproof?
It is. I think it is, as far as I
Yes,
know.
it's stone. It is a stone.
Well, are we
So
sure
yes,
that-
it is immune to fire.
Maybe if we just get rid of all the mold, go away.
Yeah, like orichalcum is a material, kind of like how we use certain materials. It just so happens that that's what brought them here. There's no real connection.
This chunk of orichalcum is infested with fungus is the problem.
Yeah, and so
Yes.
if we burn them out, they be gone.
Fire breath that shit. I grow impatient.
There are definitely large holes and chambers inside of this thing.
Hmm.
So if you wanted to, you could just breathe fire into it. And it seems that the mold is sticking to the outside of it, as you've already figured out.
Okay.
Breathe fire. Let's do it.
Ooh, yeah.
I'll pay.
Yeah, you breathe fire into this thing. There's definitely a lot of chambers, a lot of different passages. As you see some of your breath weapon come out of some of those holes, it burns through maybe not everything, since this is a very large rock and you only have what, a 15-foot cone breath weapon?
Yeah.
It doesn't get everything, but it gets a lot. And at that point, you see all of the veg pygmies. They begin to cower. And
Oh.
you do see one. It seems a little taller than the rest of them, carrying a stick of some kind, like a staff, and has a cloak of leaves that comes up and runs to the edge of the pit and begins running down. And it actually speaks common as it goes, no, no, and
then
begins
we
to
burn
try
that
and
one.
stop
Oh my
you.
What? Hi, what has happened? We didn't think you could talk.
I
I'm
don't
like,
care that you can talk.
Holy shiznit. This thing is talking to us.
The
Lark, you didn't say they could
cradle.
talk.
Cradle?
And it just falls down and begins crying as you see the smoke rising out of it as your
Did I just
fire has
massacre-
stopped burning.
Did I just massacre babies?
I think its babies are mold. So
It can understand us. Perhaps we should ask the cloaked one.
hi.
It is still weeping.
Why are you sad?
Oh my god.
Use your spell, Percy. Make it less sad.
I don't think
This-
Why not?
Excuse me, sir. Why are you distraught?
The cradle. It was all we had left of mother.
Oh, okay.
And he's like touching the rock.
Who's your mother?
Why are you touching Dwayne Johnson? This lump of orichalcum.
It was our gift from mother. She sent us.
Who is your mother?
Mother.
God damn it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gathered that. Why are you here?
For a better life. More food.
Okay. Yeah. So here's the thing about that. We didn't know. And so far as we could tell, you were invading pests. So apologies for burning your cradle, but you can't stay here. So
We have nowhere to go.
yeah,
This was where
no-
mother placed us.
yeah, she might have made a teensy weensy mistake.
Did she place you here on purpose?
Yes. For food.
What's the name of this mother?
Mother.
Right, we've established that. Lark, so you've seen these things before. They're usually evil, right? Like it seems sad now, but they're actually evil.
They're not evil. They're just trying to survive, I think.
Someone
Yeah.
sent them here.
Maybe mother is a big golem made out of this rock. That's my thought.
All right. Well, it's your house. So we gonna set fire to the crying dude, or are we just gonna leave him here with all of his
Percy, my friend, set fire to
In-
the crying.
Oh my. Oh, standing right patient. What am I? Okay.
Take him out of his misery.
Mercy. What do you eat, like for food? Is it plants? People? Like what's the vibe here?
He kind of gets up and he just goes, many things. We eat many things.
Okay, let's just burn him. I'm sick of him. I am sick of him.
I
Percy,
don't like the sound
Percy,
of that.
Percy, listen to me. I was born in a garden. I am not going to stand by while a group of mold people try to spread through more plants in front of me.
I'm with the butterfly.
What if I accidentally burped
I don't know. I like feel
fire
bad.
at him and he just burned?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to like, I don't know, be all sad about it. I thought they were gonna attack us.
They eat
So-
and they spread and they spore and they destroy and they defile and they ruin things. And not in a fun way like I do.
Can I like whisper something to Julius? Just be like, Julius, torch. Julius, torch them all.
All right. Make me an attack roll for Julius.
Oh my god.
Attack over Julius.
While you do that, I'm like,
Is that with the
So-
D20?
Yes.
do
Yeah.
you? So can you confirm that? Are you just eating and spreading everything? And then Julius is like,
I got 19.
+7 or +4 actually. So
Yeah.
23.
23.
Oh
To hit?
God.
23 to
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah, you hit him.
So
Oh,
it's the
I'd
whole,
feel a
like-
lot better if I knew this wasn't genocide.
They burned their cradle. They probably have babies in there.
What's a little
So
genocide
roll
between
damage
friends, everybody?
for Julius's fire.
Is that a D8?
D6
hmm
plus 1.
D6 is a regular dice. 6 sides.
I forgot.
I got a 6.
Oh, so 6 plus 1, that's 7 points of damage. Julius just spits a gout of flames at
He's just sitting
him.
here going.
And he does start to burn. And
God.
he looks terrified. No, no. And he begins
Oh
to
my
run
God.
away.
Oh, I don't. Why does this feel so bad?
It's
And
warm.
you see at this point, the other veg pygmies, they just begin running. And they all run in one very particular direction into the maze.
Julius, follow.
And they all like sound.
Yeah, they are kind of shrieking and screaming as they run.
Oh my God.
Can I cast? So if I cast a fire spell, everything's going to go up in flames, right?
Most likely, you might be able to maneuver it in such a way that it might hit stone or something of that
Really
nature,
just
but
follow them bird's eye view so we see where they're going.
Yeah,
yes.
I'll follow them in the air just to see where they're headed.
Can you and Julius do that too?
What?
So as they
Can
run,
Julius
they
do that too?
Yeah, Julius and Lark.
Yeah, Julius can fly. So he's flying after them. They begin to congregate in one of the squares, not too far off. You can probably make it there pretty quickly. And they gather around a statue. It is very clearly a statue of a saint of some kind with mushrooms growing all over it. And they seem to be praying to it. In whatever language they're speaking, they're praying to the statue. They're reaching up and grabbing at it. They're crunching in close. They're very clearly praying for protection.
So, like, how many of them are there, like, crouched around this statue right now?
Probably about 30, 35 of them.
And could I attack them as a swarm, or do I have to attack them individually?
What are you planning on doing specifically?
I'm debating a Scorching Ray, which is 3 shots.
I would say at that point, yeah, you can do it as a swarm.
Okay. I'm just gonna be like, they're crowding around a statue and trying to summon something, I think.
They are clearly running in terror. Just leave them be. I didn't know they were sentient when I suggested we destroy their cradle.
I mean, pests are sentient.
Lark just can't hear you right now, though, because he's
All
having
of you like left the meteor area.
Yes. You
I
can
wanna stay
probably still
behind.
see Lark floating in the air, but
I stay behind with whatever the first little guy is.
he's
I wanna
run.
use-
He's
Oh,
run. He has
okay.
left.
I wanted to
Veg
cast
Pygmy has left the
thaumaturgy
chat
on
and is
him.
running.
Well, then never mind.
And yeah, I will say you do see him in the front. He is very clearly in the front. He is very clearly some sort of religious
Okay.
leader.
Is he still burning?
No, he's not burning anymore, but he has very clearly been burned. Lark, you definitely see him like, while the others are crowded around, he is like actually waving his stick and seeming to be the closest and standing closest to the statue.
Can I run over that direction?
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And you do see the throng of these things all begging and in their weird language to this statue, which you would recognize. I believe I wrote it down as, it is a statue of Saint Adeline, but mushrooms, like shelf mushrooms, have grown over part of the face, areas of the shoulders, And the base of the statue is covered in, once again, shelf mushrooms, as well as ones with like long stalks and toadstools and things like that. So it's very fungusy statue. And they seem to be praying to this statue.
Jazz and I are really not liking what we're about to do, but are going to stand in front of the veg pygmies facing, well, I guess looking up towards Lark and Julius and facing Bruno, obviously being protective.
Hmm.
That's my stance, and I'm sticking to it. In game, Arthur, I watched an entire village of children burn once, and I can't do it again.
I
I
can.
think I already burnt all the children.
I think Percy runs over to the little guy that we already burned once, and try to be like, like hey, and maybe even like bow my own head in a little prayer to Saint Adeline, and I'm so sorry. Here, and I want to try to cast. I'll cast, I guess, just a regular cure wounds on the little guy.
All right. Roll a d4 and add your wisdom modifier.
That is 6 healing.
So you reach out and touch this mold person.
Gross.
Well, I guess you don't have to touch it because it's. Are you using healing word or cure wounds?
Cure wounds.
Okay, so you do actually have to touch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you touch them, and yeah, it does feel like you're touching a very large ball of mold.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross. And at this point,
so sorry.
they've stopped like fervently praying, and they are huddled together and just terrified.
Can I? So I'm looking at thaumaturgy,
Mm-hmm.
and it says I can create a sound.
Yes. It's not as extensive as minor illusion.
Yeah.
But you can create vague sounds.
Okay, so not words.
No, you would have to use minor illusion for words. You could, I would say you could theoretically make gibberish or make it sound like, you know, when you hear people talking, but you're just far enough that you can't understand the words.
I'm just gonna like look at my team here. Like you can see like some desperation. I'm just gonna try something here. And I'm gonna cast thaumaturgy to do like that gibberish thing, like coming from like the statue.
Oh.
And I look up and I go, "Oh, saint!" And I like kneel down and start praying. She's like, "She's speaking to me. She says, be not afraid. There's been a misunderstanding."
How's Lark doing up there? Like, are you still trying to cast Scorching Ray, or like what's going on here?
I can kind of shoot around all of you, but I'll probably hit Percy at this point.
But he just healed one of them.
That's what I'm wondering. Does Lark give a shit? Like,
I know Julius doesn't give a shit.
I mean, like, I don't know. I know. I'm just trying to think, like, what would Lark do if you guys got there before he got his shot off? Because that's what we've pretty much established at this point. Because he's just like, he doesn't see a reason on keeping them alive at all.
I don't either, actually.
I love how this is splitting the party.
2, then.
yeah, this is the first time that we've had a substantially divided will.
Like this is they're completely antithetical to how he was like raised. Is the existence of these fungus people.
I think it's logical to just get rid of all of them.
I
Because
agree.
yet again,
Logically speaking.
he was born out of a
If you
flower.
want your family's estate restored, you're gonna have to eliminate pests. I'd be like, you get a mansion, you inherit this mansion, and it's filled with rats, and you're like, well, they're nice looking
Well,
rats.
These rats can talk.
They're not rats, they can speak. They're crying.
Rats can cry.
And they're praying to Saint Adeline.
How do you know it's Saint Adeline they're praying to and not some twisted perversion of her?
I will say you did hear him refer to Mother. It's probably not Saint Adeline.
Yeah, Percy's grasping for straws, all right?
How you're the most holy one of us. What things could fungus people be praying to and calling it Mother?
I don't know.
Fungus is a sign of decay, and decay can be purified by flames. So we can just burn the shit down and be over with it.
And I just look down at the little guy. I'm like, did you ever make a case for yourself?
He is standing there like terrified. And that's when you see his eyes, even though he doesn't have pupils, they're just yellow. It's almost like you do see them dart over. And he kind of turns and you see the other veg pygmies begin to look off behind you guys. And then you hear a growl.
Oh my goodness.
Fuck my
And you
life. Ready my bow.
You turn to see the strangest thing that you've ever seen before. Two incredibly large leopards with snakes coming out of their shoulders are stalking towards you. Green gas coming out of the snakes' mouths as they writhe and wiggle. And it's very clear that these two things are going to attack. And that's where we're going to end the episode. On a cliffhanger.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So that is the end of episode 17. So join us next week as we figure out just what the hell is going to happen now. The party's split and they're getting attacked. Will they protect the veg pygmy tribe or will they protect themselves and only themselves? Only next week's episode will tell. So we will see you soon.